The Fourth Reich by Jade Wall. Read by Steve Parker. She didn't think it would end like this. It wasn't her plan. No, not at all. The heavy sounds of her footsteps echoed around her, the wails of the sirens only making her even more aware of her impending doom. Wave after wave of sound pouncing on her eardrums mercilessly, stray tears fleeing from her eyes as she rounded the corner, her breath coming out in harsh pants, inhaling stray flakes of ash and forcing her throat to surrender, to constrict and crumble under the pressure of the ashes, bombardments surrounded by embers. A shocked gasp found itself being ripped from her throat as she came to an abrupt stop, her eyes widening drastically as tears began to fly across her pale cheeks, a small river pushing its way through a dry landscape. This couldn't be happening. Her cyan orbs took in the looming figure in front of her. Although it was merely a silhouette, a dim outline enhanced by the orange and scarlet skies, a faint glimpse of the uniform gave it away. That uniform. The uniform wore, presented proudly by those who left suffering in their wake. Merciless, pain-inducing. They simply weren't human in her eyes. To cause such suffering on a global scale with little to no remorse, they were merely tools to be utilized by that dreaded Führer, to afflict torment wherever he saw fit. It was impossible to escape. The dictator, the very same dictator who had killed millions merely for their race, he had won the war. She recalled the thoughts that swarmed her mind as she stood looking up at the planes echoing with celebratory cries across London's skies. It wasn't meant to end like this. They were supposed to win. The Grand Alliance fell at the hands of the Axis powers, and soon living itself became a crime, as if she had any choice what race she was. Fleeing was foolish, she knew, and at the very most buy her a little more time. A few more inches to that mile, yet she did so anyway. Giving up would be another defeat in itself, and it was her only hope for living again. Being able to wake up to bright azure skies, to listen to the sounds of the birds chirping and dance across those very same fresh green fields that lay within her distant childhood memories. Her mother's and father's joyous laughter, which remained a symphony in her mind, their laughter echoing in delightful harmonies. All that was viciously swiped from right under her feet. The bird's melody violently cut off by a vicious fist. The fresh green fields now merely a wasteland at the hands of continuous bombing, and her parents, their blood all over those callous, unforgiving hands. The tears came faster, a storm rather than a light shower, and she held no resistance. The man turned around, eyes gleaming with malicious intent, eyeing the star that was implanted on her coat with a sinister smile. He began walking, one foot in front of the other, getting closer and closer, eyes those of a predator. However, his advance was abruptly halted by the onslaught of explosions that came their way. She flew back, just about managing to regain her footing, stumbling helplessly as she clung to the wall. She looked up, staring at the plane hopefully. It wasn't the horrid lime green and yellow plane that lay permanently implanted within her mind. Not at all. Instead, it was a shockingly pure white, laced with glimpses of cobalt and red. And then it hit her. She flew back, embers rushing and consuming her as she was forced harshly onto the unforgiving concrete floor. Yet, a small smile danced across her lips. Scarlet began consuming her vision on her right side, which she promptly ignored. Pulling herself, limb by limb, further and further towards the sky, the future was calling, and she would do everything in her power to fight for it.